Peace and blessings, family. Welcome back to another episode of Learn with Shavern. So, on today's episode, we're going to talk about when should you date, right? A lot of people find themselves in this space where they're like, oh, well, all I want is somebody to love me, and all I want is, to be in a relationship, yada, 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 however you want to phrase it, however it comes out. Okay. I'm going to tell you guys about the golden rule of 4 and the 4 things you should have before you should date or think about dating, and why they're so crucial, right? So in the Christian Bible, there were 4 lepers, right? They got stuck on that decision outside of the gate. Do I go inside of the city? Do I stay out here and die? I could go in there and die too. Okay? Chapter 4 in the Quran, chapter 4 in the Surah, for the Quran, it speaks about how the dynamics of a family, right? The role of a husband and a wife in a family dynamics, and how stability is in there, right? There's 4 legs on most tables. I know lately they've come out with all type of jazzy things, but most traditional tables got 4 legs. There's 4 seasons in a year, right? 4 corners of the world. There's 4 Vedas in the Hindu religion. Vedas are their Bibles, for those of you who are not familiar. The Hindu religion, they have 4 Bibles. So think of like the Christian Bible, but way thicker, and 4 of those. The 4 things that you should have before you decide to become unionized with somebody else, right? Are you physically where you want to be, or physically where you should be? And I mean this health-wise, not necessarily superficially, right? Not necessarily how you look on the outside, but physically, are you in good health? Because if your health is poor, think about this. Do you really want to become somebody else's burden? Your health, right? The second thing, am I mentally all right? Right? Am I mentally stable? Are there any mental traumas that maybe I still need to heal from before I unionize? Because guess what? Those same mental issues become this other person's burden. Okay? The 4th thing, am I spiritually in tune? Okay? Do I have my whole higher self together to where I know the highest good for me? Because if I don't know the highest good for me, how could I know the highest good for somebody else? And the 4th most important one, which is the only one that most humans seem to focus on, is, am I financially stable? Right? A lot of us feel like, oh, if we get the dude that's financially stable, for my women out here, we feel like, oh, we get the dude that's financially stable, that we Gucci, we don't need to worry about nothing else, everything is good. But then you get in union with this guy, and then, maybe he's putting his hands on you. Maybe he is mistreating you. Maybe he decides to quit his job after you guys get in union. Like, all type of things can happen. Like, you want to make sure that people's 4 legs that they standing on, just like a solid table, is all together, and not just focus on that one aspect, right? And then this goes for every single one of those aspects, okay? Don't become so overly involved where you're the type of female where you're like, oh, well, I don't really feel like God should pay for stuff for me, and his finances and my finances, and as long as he's a man of God, I'm good. Well, you know what? There's a lot of men of God who out here doing ungodly things too. So, you can't just focus on one aspect. Same thing with the mental, same thing with the physical. You can't just focus on one aspect. A solid foundation for any person is to have all 4 things in check. If any one of your 4 things is not in check, you got no business being in a union with nobody. Point blank, period. End of discussion, right? Until you get yourself together, because how many people get into union? And then fellas, this is for you, right? Because a lot of fellas I notice out here be like, oh, well, it's a lot of women, they only want to get with me for my finances. Well, fellas, do you only want to get with her because of her physical? It goes hand in hand. You really want to focus on these things. And the mental, women, men, I cannot stress this enough. It is so important that you refine your interview process when you're dating, right? And make sure that somebody's mental is all the way together, because in today's world, like, there's a lot of crazy people. I know a lot of y'all watch the news. If you don't, you should start watching a little bit of news every now and again, at least once a week. I don't personally like watching the news every day, but just to stay in tune with the madness going on in the world, I'll look at a newspaper cover, something like that. I don't need to do too much, but I'll go in there like that just to observe what's happening. People are crazy. Okay, there's a lot of people whose mental is not together and they're getting in union. This is why we see so many spouses killing one another, right? Both men and women. They got a whole show on it called Snapped, right? Because people's mental is not together and they get blinded by one of the 4 aspects instead of making sure all 4 is together. Okay, this is so important. Like, you can't be truly happy with someone else if you're not truly happy with you. The best way to be truly happy with you is have all your stuff together. Because guess what? If I have all my stuff together and now I come into union with somebody else who also got all their stuff together, what we going to do? We're going to have a nice solid foundation and build an empire from there, right? If one of us is solid and the other person is down here still trying to figure things out, still trying to get their mental, physical, spiritual, financial together, this doesn't serve this person. Right? And it's unfortunate because it's a lot of these situations, especially for my ladies out here, because, you know, in our melanated community, as most of you guys know, we got a lot of brothers out here who's lost and who's struggling because they still trying to find themselves. But ladies, a lot of y'all will be solid, and then you come across this brother who's all types of broken, and now bring yourself down to also be broken. And fellas, y'all be doing the same thing. Y'all will be solid, and then for whatever reason, these same solid people be wanting to, like, they attract these dysfunctional individuals into their lives. And now they trying to figure out why their life is dysfunctional. And they reflect back and they're like, well, geez, at one point I was so happy. Like, what happened? What did I do wrong? Right? You got to be leery of these people. Okay? It is okay and absolutely healthy to be like, you know what? I'm good on you. You not for me. Okay, it is absolutely healthy and okay to be that way. This is something that I've started really incorporating, and I heard on a video somewhere, right? Not all family are relatives, and not all relatives are family. So, meaning your family are the people who's in your immediate network. These are your 5 close friends, just like your senses, your eyes, your nose, your ears, your tongue, and everything. Like, these are your 5 senses, your 5 people. That's your real family. Relatives are people sometimes just related by blood, and they don't always be your family, right? So you want to be mindful of those type of things, because sometimes family may not always serve you. Sometimes friends may not always serve you. It may not be serving the higher good for you, and only you know that. No one else can dictate your highest good except for you. But you know how? You know what's a hint to let you know that maybe something in your life is not really serving the highest you? If you find yourself complaining, if you find yourself negative, if you find yourself in unfavorable situations, something in your life is not serving you correctly, and you may need to take the time out to evaluate that, right? Because at the end of the day, our higher purpose here, our whole higher purpose is to eventually come into union with somebody else and procreate, right? Every single religion tells us that. But before you get into union, make sure all of you is together before you become a burden on somebody else. Because everything that's incorrect within you is absolutely going to become that for someone else, right? Become a burden, right? Ladies, fellas, stop going out here trying to fix people. It don't work. It does not work. Throw it out the window. Leave it alone. The only person that could fix somebody is themselves. That individual has to choose to decide to stop being unhappy, to stop being the victim, to stop allowing life happening to them. That person has to choose, right? I was just telling one of my cousins the other day, you could lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. This person is the horse. The horse has to be thirsty enough. The water is you. You are the knowledge. You kicking knowledge to somebody. If you realize they're not listening, you got to wait until they're thirsty. Sometimes the horse may die or come close to death before it realizes, and not literally, right? But sometimes a horse may come close to death before it realizes that that one drink of water, that one little sip of knowledge might save their life. So I hope this information resonates with you guys. I want to send my shout outs again. Thank you guys for liking, sharing, subscribing, following me on Instagram. I really appreciate all of you guys who have become Patreons, who have been donating. You guys have a wonderful, positive, powerful, productive day. And remember, affirm the greatness that you are. And don't forget to thank yourself like Snoop.